Hey guys, Chris Costa with Costa Ludus. I'm here with Morgan Drew, and today we're going to talk about the Buchanan Precision Press reloading machine. This machine can be both utilized in a fixed kind of position along with being a handheld, which is pretty unique, and I think a lot of you guys that are definitely loaders will either have already heard or seen this press, but for some of the ones that haven't, this is really unique, and I think it's kind of a nice gap, a nice bridge to have as another piece for convenience. And you'll see what I'm talking about as Morgan kind of covers more of the detail on this.
Hey guys, so one of the things that's nice about the Buchanan Precision Press is its compactness. And that's something that we as hand loaders struggle with is as we get more involved in this, we tend to spread out and it takes up a lot of space. It also ties us down to one location generally to load our ammunition. So one of the things that I've struggled with over the years is if I want to go to the range, which for me can be quite a trip depending on what I want to do, I want to work up loads there, I have to load all of my ammunition before I go, take it with me and hope that I've kind of hit the nail on the head, so to speak, with one of my test loads. I don't have the ability once I get there to change bullet seating depth, powder charges, that kind of stuff. With a press like the Buchanan Precision, that's a game changer for me because you're looking at basically an old military storage box here, and this is actually the press itself. It comes in a very nice white soft case, and this is the Buchanan Precision reloading press. So I can use it both in the handheld mode like I am right now, or it can actually be clamped to a flat surface. So it's a lot of versatility that we'll go through and show you how this works, but it gives me the ability to take the show on the road, so to speak. Also gives me the ability to do things in the house that I might have to do in the reloading room, like just processing brass, sizing it, depriming it, cleaning primer pockets, that kind of stuff. I can sit in my easy chair and do that work without having to go stand in the reloading room. So really a very versatile piece of equipment. So let's talk a little bit about the features of the Buchanan Precision Reloading Press. It comes in a couple different versions. One is the top plate is threaded for standard 7/8 by 14 dies. They just screw in and out like a normal reloading press. This one is obviously a little bit different. It's set up for the Hornady lock and load bushing system. And what that is, if you're not familiar, is a bushing that cams into place in this collar, and it allows you to set up your dies in it and then leave the dies in adjustment. So it just goes into the press, locks into place. Now I'd be ready to size and deprime. When I finish that, I can take it out, nice easy turn, and now say I want to trim cases, I can put in my Lee quick trim system, turn it into place, put a case in, trim the case. Once I'm finished with that operation, very easy, unlocks, comes back out, and now I can go into bullet seating. The other thing that I like about this hand press compared to some of the older hand presses that were out there is it takes standard shell holders. So this is just an RCBS number 3, and it goes into the bottom ram, slides into place, and then it has a lock that cams over into place, holds it in there. It takes, I've used it with lots of different shell holder brands, seems to take everything without a problem. The other good news about this press is its spent primer handling capability. In the old presses, spent primers were usually captured in the ram of the press. You had to take the shell holder out, dump them out, they get jammed up in there, you had to fish them out. Not a big deal, but something that you had to contend with. With the Buchanan, it's very easy. Once you have spent primers in there, you just take the primer cup out, it holds them, dump them in the trash, put it back on, you're back to depriming again. So very easy to empty out spent primers. Once I'm done with the depriming, then I can leave the spent primer cup off, and it allows me to have a lot more throw to the press, which allows me to run taller cartridges like this 300 Winchester Magnum will fit into this press to where I can load them as well. And I've run everything from 300 Win Mag down to 308 for Bottleneck rifle cases right now in this, and obviously cartridges like 5.56 are even easier to deal with in it. But the point is, it takes all of these cases without a problem. So one of the things that I use the Buchanan press for is processing straight wall pistol cases. I shoot a tremendous amount of revolver ammunition. I like to be able to size it and deprime it. And I can do this sitting in my easy chair. So just put the case in, it goes into the press. Keep your fingers open so that when you press like this, you don't trap them in here. It does hurt when you do that, trust me. Figured that out the first time. A nice pull like that, I can take it back out, goes in the bin, and I just keep working my straight wall pistol cases like that. Mr. Buchanan did a wonderful video on his website, Buchanan Precision Machine, about loading 44 Magnum on this press. So if you want to see more on straight wall cartridges, that would be a really good place to check out. I'm going to move on though. One of the things that I haven't seen done a lot with this press is reloading bottleneck cases like 308, 30-06. And from a precision shooter or a hunter, this is another thing that would be nice to be able to take to the range with me to work up loads. So we'll take a look at that. So one of the things I was curious about when I looked at this press is its ability to size bottleneck rifle cartridges. You know, straight wall pistol and straight wall rifle cartridges like 45-70, they do take some force to size them, but not nearly as much as it takes to set back shoulder on a bottleneck case. So what I found is you can use it in the handheld mode like I was with the 44 Magnum case, but it really helps to be able to clamp this down to a flat surface to size bottleneck cases, because much like a larger reloading press, you want a little cam over between the shell holder and the die to set that shoulder back. So this one's already been pre-adjusted, just got a little bit of redding case lube here to go onto the case. Go in there, bring it up, size it. You can hear the handles cam over and come together like that. That's helping set the shoulder back. And then just open it up and bring it out. So that's now sized and deprimed the case, set the shoulder back to where it'll fit in the rifle. We set it up with a headspace gauge, also checked it in Chris's rifle. Works just fine. So from here, we'll go ahead and finish our brass prep, showing you that, and then load some ammo and go out and shoot. All right, so we've got cases sized now, and I've checked them for length. They need to be trimmed. So what I wanted to find out with this press is, can I use the Lee Rapid Trim die with a press this small? So trim die's already set up in a Hornady lock and load collet, set up for case length. Trimmer goes in, case goes into the press, run it up like this. I grab it because I've got big enough hands to keep the levers compressed because I want a consistent trim length to this. And then basically with the Lee trim dies, you just turn the handle until you feel it stop cutting, which is right about there. Run it back out. I'm going to check it for case length. And it's right in there. It's underneath the 2.10 for 308 cases, so good to load. So we'll finish trimming these up and get ready to put powder, primer, and bullets in. So we've got cases prepped now. They've been trimmed to length, they've been chamfered, primer pockets are clean, case necks have been brushed out. So next on the list is to prime with it. Generally, I prime with a hand tool, but this press is perfectly capable of doing the job too. What I have is a Lee Ram Prime system. Already got the bushing for it set up in one of the lock and load collets. It goes in the top, and you can set it in there any way you want to. I'm just trying to get it set up to where the case holder goes the direction I want it to, or the shell holder more appropriately. Shell holder snaps into this, and then the Ram Prime assembly goes into the ram of the press. Flip the lock over. And then the way this works, you run it up to the top of the stroke. Your primer cup is now visible. Pick up a primer, set it in there, make sure it's square in it, and then just drop that a little bit, put your case in, and then it's very easy to feel it come up and seat against the bottom of the primer pocket. Drop it a little bit, and there you have a prime case. So we'll do this a few more times, and we'll put some powder in. So one of the things I was curious about with this press is if we could use it for powder handling as well, instead of having our powder measures set up on a separate stand. And the old RCBS powder measures like this Uniflow, still a good measure. The nice thing is they're threaded the same as a reloading die. So they go right in the Hornady lock and load bushing. You can drop it into the press, run the case up against it, throw your powder charge, take it out, set it back in your loading block, or in our case, since we're working up loads right now, we want to see where we're at. We're right at 42 grains on the nose where I wanted to be for a starting load. So we're going to work up from there, do some test loads, which this would be something that we could do, like I said, at the range if we have kind of a protected area to work in. Or like for me, I have a slide-in truck camper. I can work inside the camper when it's inclement weather outside and I'm at the range, and then go back out and test my loads. All right, so we're working up loads here, so we're increasing the powder charge like a ladder so that we can determine velocity at this point. We'll shoot for group size later. So just continuing to throw charges and work up the weight of the powder. So we're up. I'm right at the maximum loading for this powder and this cartridge right now, so this will be our max cartridge. And we've gone through and marked all of them with Sharpies like we should so that we can work them up in progression, check for pressure signs, check for speed. So we'll get these finished out. We'll seat some bullets here in a second. So we've gone ahead and gone through and put powder in all of our cases. We're doing a ladder workup load with this. It's 308 Winchester with 168 grain boat tail, particularly from Hornady this time, with Hodgdon BLC2 powder. Kind of old school, but it's something that's worked really well for me over the years. So got a Redding competition seating die set up in here, so a very precision piece of equipment. Go ahead and put the bullet on, feed it up, and just nice and smooth press until the hands contact the body of the press. Back out again. That loading block, our next one in. Just kind of start it up in there. Nice smooth seating motion. And there we go. Loaded cartridges from the Buchanan Precision Machine hand and bench mountable press.
2326, 2395, 2446, so we're getting into the more spicier rounds. 2335, 2452. Well, you do a lot of loading because you come down here, you help me. This is why I needed you for this video, because I know nothing when it comes to loading. So what did you think of having this this Buchanan device?
You know, overall, I think it's a really handy press for somebody like me. It allows me to do a lot of my work, like we said, sitting in the easy chair or someplace other than standing at my bench all the time, which kind of gets old after a while. But it also, if I need to go to the range, you know, for me to get a 500-yard range, it's an hour and 45-minute drive for me. So to be able to roll up there with the camper and be able to work up loads in the back of that, that's super important too. But overall, it's a very capable, especially for its size, it's a very capable press. I mean, to be able to load pistol cartridges and then turn around and load, you know, accuracy 308 on it.
Cartridges.
It's pretty darn impressive. I am liking it a lot. And I like, compared to some of the other hand presses that I've used over the years, the fact that you get equal pressure off of the handles, everything runs true, made out of super high quality materials compared to some of the older hand presses that they were built for economy. I mean, that's what they were out there for, was to get people into reloading. This is obviously a precision piece of equipment. I'm very impressed with it.
I think when you start to break down and you look at the fact of going to the gun range, I mean, like I said, I've got Dillon 550s here that we can just start cranking stuff out, right? But I'm able to grab my gun, come out here, look at the accuracy, look at the feet per second that we're trying to achieve, and literally go walk back in on my presses and make corrections. A lot of people aren't able to do that, and I think this is a great tool to kind of complement that. So if you do have to travel, you're able to test your stuff right there, tweak it if you need to, and then once you have refined this is what you want for a load, then go home and start cranking them out after that. I think it's a really innovative tool. I know it's been out for a long time, but a lot of people don't really know about it. And hopefully at this point, you know, you guys can check them out and see if it's something that'll work for you guys.
Absolutely, and I think it's something that a lot of people don't go looking for a hand press, and like you say, they don't realize that they're out there. But once you get into one of these and realize how useful it is, I think you're going to want to take a good hard look at it.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming and, you know, showing everybody how to use it. I greatly
pleasure.
appreciate it.
My pleasure.